I got a good one for y'all. It's a good one for y'all. It's a few for y'all, but let's jump into it, man. It's a good one.
What have you seen happening between men and women right now?
Women, I think, don't need men as
Okay.
much as they used to.
Hey, pay attention. I really want y'all to pay attention. And before y'all pay attention, not pay attention. I said
Do.
after.
And I think this is in part because of this whole sexual revolution and the pill and feminism and all these things, which has tremendous upsides. I think that women and men are having less sex, they're getting married less. Men's attitude towards women has become a little bit more resentful in certain pockets of the internet. They perceive relationships with the other sex to be disposable more than ever before.
Men view women.
I would say both. And I think in
Okay.
part that's because of dating apps, just the perception of choice.
Okay.
The feeling that if you don't work out, there's another 1,000 people on my phone that I could give a shot to. I think the equation of a relationship, when we think about the investment it takes for it to work and what you get from it, people now perceive the equation not to be worth it.
Okay. I think they're.
Hey, that is powerful. And I just want to say that I know it is a lot of women who feel, like it's not really worth it like that. But you have a lot more men who feel it's not really worth it like that. But the difference between the two is one society is shifting to gear what's already in place of the organic natural world. And that's where this topic becomes so important. I'm going to be honest. We are in a feminine universe with on a feminine planet with feminine nature. You get what I mean? Like it's not nobody who's hearing these words who didn't come here between the legs of a woman. Nobody. Like nobody except for AI, but nobody else. So it's like those are the rules of the environment. That's the rules. And for the men, the only reason for the last couple of, I say, couple of 1,000 years, it has been a little bit different. Not even 1,000. I'm lying. A couple of hundred. I say a good 500 years. You get what I mean? It has been under this false patriarchal system. So it's out of what is the natural order. You get what I mean? And it's like, yeah, you as a man, you have to be exceptional because those are the rules. You have to earn your place. But under the artificial patriarchal system, it was geared for men into a way to where it's like they X the woman out of everything. In most major religions, you feel me? In all of the finances, the workforce, most government positions, even in society, like up until the last 50 years, maybe overall, I say for most places 100, but modern westernized places around the last 50, 60 years, like for real, for real. So it's like that because that's what it's supposed to be. So a lot of guys is like, I'm gonna let him continue.
There's a lot of great stuff there. So you're like a fully formed adult man, right?
I think so. I hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Like you're like a man. You're not like a kid. You're not like a dude in early stages of development. You've got a career, you've got a relationship, you're buying a house. Like you are an adult.
Yeah.
So if I was an 18-year-old
Yeah.
and I came to you, and let's say I'm your nephew or something like that, and I'm like, Stephen, fully formed adult, handsome man in relationship, I'm struggling to date.
Yeah.
What should I do?
You want me to give you advice? Yeah. Fuck. I think you should work on yourself.
Okay.
Especially as an 18-year-old man, because I think you need to, especially at that age, create some advantages. And so working on yourself could be...
That's perfect. And I'm going to be honest. He's a little late. Like, 18 is hella late to be jumping off the porch. You have to understand that it's like, man, one, women develop faster. So, females are already born developed. You get what I mean? Well, more in tune for the environment because it's the nature. Men are more of an anomaly that technically only had one purpose, and it's to, you feel me, produce strong genes. That's it. You feel me? I'm not trying to be like politically correct or say what, like spare people feelings or any of that shit. No. I'm just telling you what it is. You feel me? Like your purpose, and you'll see it reflected in nature. You get what I mean? The strongest male, and this is what everybody says, but I don't think they understand it on a universal level. I think they think that it's just happening in nature as far as like man and animals, but no, it's bigger than that. It's everything in this universe. Even when you're dealing with the planets, all of the planets are magnetic. They're magnetically attracted to the sun. The sun is electric. It's the male. It's the sun. So it's pulling all the other planets. Just like a man, you feel me, when he's like top, tippity top, or whatever that society deems apex. You get what I mean? In that current society, is different for every period. You get what it's certain things, certain dynamics that would, switch it out, but it's different for every period. Like if we were not in a quote unquote civilized world and it was more physical, then money wouldn't go as far as, man, what is your killer instincts, or what is your body like, and I'm not just talking about being like super buff or your physique or whatnot, but hey, it is what it is. If we were in a completely academic world or play straight mental, like semi what it is now, then your mental game would be everything. But it's a combination of something completely different. I'm gonna let them go.
Learning, reading, going to the gym, building up the ability to provide for someone else and to protect somebody else. That's kind of really where I'd start. And again, that's biased because that's what I did at 18 years old.
Great.
I actually didn't date. I think I've been on 5 dates in my entire life.
Okay,
Oh,
so let's say I
wow.
do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, hey, I'm on this growth journey, and I'm sure.
That's not what does it. You get what I'm saying? Like those features, those are just tools in the toolbox to make you more skilled. That's all that what it is. It's an extension of you. To get to that goal, you have to know how to operate with women. I hope he gets into that, because that's the main thing that most men are missing. They don't know how to really operate with women as far as like understanding how they operate. They don't think like you think. They're not going to move like you move. You feel me? So if you thinking your logic is the same as their logic, you're fucked. You're never going to get... let me let him cook.
Sure, you've encountered this, and there are going to be people in the audience who are like, the reason they're watching this podcast is because they're trying to do that. They're still not getting dates, right? It's still hard to find a girlfriend. Then what do you have to say to them?
I would assume that the reason it's not working is because they're not in this frame of mind to find
Perfect.
love.
And when a dude says...
See, now also wordage. He said find dates. He said find love. What are you searching for? Are you searching for, you feel me? You got to know what your intentions is, because you got to know what your approach. But you also have to know its consequences for your actions. Actions have reactions. So if you are, you feel me, playing the field and you just running through trying to smash, it's consequences for your action. These create karmatic ties, and they create situations. They create situations that can disturb, or depending on what it is, it's not all cons. It's some pros. It can elevate you. A lot of the situation, depending on how you operate. Like every dude running through hella females don't do it the same way. You feel me? And I'm not telling you to be a dude that's running through, or to go run through hella females, because that also still has psychological fuck ups, you feel me, for yourself as well as spiritual sexual ties. But it's more designed in your nature than if it was for the opposite, because that was your original program. Your program wasn't to, you feel me, hold any position of power here. Your program wasn't to tell anybody what to do. Your program wasn't to be served technically when it first kicked off. Your program was just to be very, very good for that time and breed. You get what I mean? But let's go ahead and let them cook. I know this sounds unorthodox, but man, just think about yourself. Think about what you see in your reality, and think about your instincts. Think about your urges. I'm not telling you to be politically correct. I'm not telling you to be, you feel me, to be on no creep shit. But I'm saying really think about yourself and how you operate and the thoughts that you have. You feel me, and the cravings that you got. Like some of those things are animalistic. You feel me? They are primal. They're them your lower selves, your lower energies. And for yes, men and women have them, and they will come out in certain ways depending on your level of consciousness.
I'm trying to do everything right. What is the most common response that they get? Right? So like
Try harder, or like,
yeah, right? If you kind of like look at Twitter, what you'll find is people will be like, it's impossible to find a good woman, and then like men will be
That's false. It's so many good women. It's so many good women. It's so many good women. It's nowhere near as many good men as there are good women. I'm willing to bet my bottom everything on it. Guaranteed. It's not. Nowhere near. Not even kinda. Not even remotely close. Not even, oh my goodness. But it's not a lot of great men. And a lot of good women want great men, you know? A lot of women want great men, but it's not a lot of great men. It's not even a lot of good men. So, let's let them cook.
Let's say a dude says that, or a woman says that. It's on both sides. It's impossible to find a good man. And then people won't be like, yeah, it's impossible to find a good man. So maybe some people will be supportive. So you'll have a woman who says it's impossible to find a good man. You know, there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, like men are trash. Fine. And then a lot of people will be like, you're not trying hard enough. You're not going to the right places. That gets, we as men get that a lot more because there's a societal bias that men don't need help, right? So if you look at like the comparison of scholarships, male-only scholarships versus female-only scholarships, there's about $4.9 billion worth of scholarships given out in the United States from private sources. Female scholarships outside of athletics are way higher than male scholarships.
That's the game. Peep the game.
So if you look at athletics, the number is way higher for men.
Peep the game.
But the really weird thing is that like 60% of people who graduate from college or in college somewhere in there are women. So the people who need more gender-based support.
Because it's designed like that. Women function better in any game. You feel me? If it is not set in their favor, but set in a natural, organic way. Physically, men would dominate. If it's not physical on your physiology, and even right now, based on the way they have manipulated the chemicals in your biology, even physically, a lot of women will outdo men right now. I guarantee it.
Or men, but we don't really do that. We're usually like, if a man has a problem, this is a man's problem to solve. And when a man goes out and says, I'm having trouble dating, but what people will say is men will say, work harder, try harder. You know, people will and people will really be nasty about it. They're like,
and that's not how it works.
Do you not know how to talk to women? Stop being a creep, things like that.
This is true.
And the other thing that we're sort of starting to not
this is true.
we're really seeing is that there is like this very, very like deep anger, entitlement. There's like this incel movement. You know, there's this like alpha male, beta male kind of thing. And I don't know if you kind of get this, but there's like a deep sense of.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna read this whole shit, but basically it's saying it's a lot of online male communities that promote ideas like alpha and beta hierarchies to express deep resentment towards women. Okay, I don't know about any of that, but in nature it is for sure what it is, and you shouldn't have any type of resentment towards women because you got here from a woman. So it's like that is the tippity tip based off of universal order. It's the law of nature, literally Mother Nature. That is the law. You get what I'm saying? So now a lot of these groups do have patterns of entitlement and anger. You don't have any entitlement. If you are a man, you are not entitled, not on this planet. You have to earn your position here. That is the game. You have to be charged up in electric and burn like the sun. That is the game. And some of us develop it from a young age, and some of us never it never clicks. We never could light, we never could spark. But also some of us never get the right type of information or the right type of resources to get sparked. You get what I mean? Sometimes it takes somebody who's lit to light your flame. You get what I mean? So it's like a lot of men don't know the game that they're playing and they don't understand it. But you cannot be entitled. You need to have your emotions in check. No emotional intelligence and no emotional control. The world doesn't owe you anything because that's the game. You get what I mean? It just is what it is. Is what it is. Now, I will say it's shifting a lot for women as well because it's so many women. The world doesn't owe you anything as well. You get what I mean? You have to be great, and you have to be good people, and you have to do good to others. Don't be angry. Don't be entitled. Don't treat people like crap. That's not cool. Let me stop preaching.
Like anger, right? There's like in men, and I think women feel it too. This is why women are so terrified. This whole thing about would you rather be in a forest with a bear or a man?
Facts.
Did you hear about this?
No.
So like people would ask this question on Twitter to women. It's like, would you rather be in a forest with like a bear or a man? And like women feel safer with a wild bear than they do with a man.
Facts.
So I think people are picking up on this like existential, and I don't know if that makes sense to you, but there's like
because the bears ain't out here raping and beating the females. Like the bears, they not doing that. You get what I mean? So it's like it's a level of out of pocketness globally that women are going through, and it's came into order. You feel me? Over the last couple of 100 years, when this false patriarchal system got started. I don't give a fuck who doesn't like what I'm saying. It's the truth. The truth is the truth. And it is what it is. The resentment and the things that men are feeling is they feeling the reality. You get what I mean? And they haven't put enough time into, you feel me, like putting into themselves as they have been walking around with the entitlement, feeling like they deserve it. You get what I'm saying? Like Kevin Samuels got a lot of bad words, you feel me, a lot of bad, you feel me, like just energy from a lot of females because of what he was saying and how he was saying it. But he was on point with a lot of stuff. And he said the same exact and probably was even worse when it came to the men because it's harder for men. That's the game. You feel me? That's the game. That's the game. You feel me? And it's supposed to. Like, women are soft. You get what I mean? Men are hard. You get what I mean? So it's like, yeah, when it comes to a lot of things, you can't necessarily run from the hard like she can. You get what I mean? When it comes to some situations, it's universal. But you aren't necessarily going to level up from running away from the hard. You get what I mean? From finding out how to avoid it. You may level up by taking on the challenge head on and overcoming it. Or it may even be some of the level up is in the L's. You feel me? In the lessons. A lot of people take them as losses. It's only losses if you give up. But them L's or them lessons, man, you got to learn them. You get what I mean? And you keep going and you keep going and then you win. And then you feel me? You do it again. Next level.
An existential like cry coming from men, which can manifest as anger. I think we're also seeing reflections of this like in South Korea with like dropping birth rates, right? Where like men are getting really, really angry. They feel really entitled. And I think this is where it's important to understand a biological difference. And we'll get to what I think is going on. So a woman does not need a man in order to pass her genes along.
Facts.
So I mean, like literally, I know it sounds weird, but like if you're a woman, you can just go to a sperm bank and you can get pregnant. You can just have.
Okay, well, look. That is true. But I wasn't talking about like that. There is situations where they have had things called miracle births or in other natures, but that's a story in itself. What I will say is that while women can do that, you do need a man in the household as far as the structure. You get what I mean? Like and this is just going off of the rates. It's designed how it's designed because that's the way it's designed. Men provide the structure and the foundation, women nurture it, and they help it grow. They take whatever blueprints you give them and they make shit happen with it. Guaranteed. That's why most corporations, especially in the 90s for sure, 90s, early 2000s, and I'll say even 80s and started in the 70s, a lot of the administrative positions, even 60s too, of a lot of the companies, they always had secretaries. The secretaries did most of the brain work. You get what I mean? Most of the organizing, because that's what they do. And it works like that on a micro macro level. That's why it's mother and nature. It's mother nature. Nature. You get what I'm saying? We may got father time, but it's mother nature. You get what I mean?
Have a child without. You can also argue that it's easier for women to find a man who is willing to impregnate them
Facts.
than it is for a man to find a woman willing
But
to
stay
impregnate
there.
a child. But I mean, literally,
No.
we live in a society where women can just procreate if they feel like it,
Facts.
and men cannot.
Facts.
So there's a fundamental
Eh,
power
depends
balance
on-
there. I'm not saying it's
depends
right or
on the
wrong,
man.
I'm just saying it is what it is. So I think what we're starting to see is actually like a mass extinction event. We're
Facts.
seeing natural selection
Facts.
for a group of men who
Facts.
have no options.
Facts.
Many years ago, I was a loser, and the world that we lived in necessitated my entry into third spaces. I had trouble talking to girls, but I was forced into college.
Facts.
When I got my first job, it was serving ice cream. I was forced to interact with girls.
Facts.
I was active in a summer camp where I met girls, was forced to talk to girls.
Facts.
So I sucked at talking to girls, but the world that I lived in
Facts.
was structured so that I still had to talk to girls.
Yep.
I had no option to retreat from interaction and painful interaction with the opposite sex. I think literally what we're seeing, because all this stuff started to get really bad during COVID. So what happened in COVID was actually like a natural selection event, but it wasn't a natural selection event about life and death. That's what people think natural selection is. What happened during COVID, sure, a lot of people died and that's bad. But the post-COVID world, some people were able to adapt to it and some people are not. We're seeing a spike in social anxiety. Now I can work from home. Now I have pornography.
Okay, so a big thing about that is because COVID forced people to deal with their own inner shadows. It is had them peeking under the bed, or all the stuff they kind of tucked under. You know, the parents come home, they don't really want to clean up, they push it under the bed. Yeah, they had to pull some of that shit. I'm like, damn, you got plates and all of this, and shoes and socks and food and all kinds of papers, and it's like, what is this? You know? Yes, that's basically, people don't want to deal with their shit.
Now I have all this stuff going on to where I'm not forced to learn how to interact with women. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So now you can live your whole life at home. And I think what's starting to happen is literally natural selection. And the way that natural selection works is people think it's like, oh, if natural selection means I'm weak and someone is strong. That's
No.
not technically correct.
That's not.
Natural selection is you were made a certain way.
Man, listen to him. Look, yo, genetics is, if this is a game of genetics, this is a game of genetics. The way you level up your skills is putting in the hard work to level up. It's like playing a game. We're in a simulation. That's what it is. You level up your skills and you pass some skills on through that is the reason of the breeding and procreation. That's it.
Someone else is made a different way. And then the environment changes. Which one of these two is suited to, it's not even adaptation because all the adaptations have been made. And I think the best example of this is like literally Darwin's finches. So you've got like, one finch that has like a hard beak that can crack a nut. You've got another finch that has a very sharp beak that can get like a bug out of like a cactus. Like that has these very like tight flowers. And so if something happens and all the cacti die out, the birds that rely on the cacti bugs will start to die out too. They don't know how to procreate in this world anymore. And I think what we're seeing with like all these alphas, betas, incels, what we're seeing in South Korea is there is a whole generation of men that is like, we are literally watching them die out in real time.
In real
because
time.
We've got 32
It's a global thing.
year olds, 35-year-olds who do not have children, do not know how they're going to ever have children. And this is where, like, I know this sounds bizarre, but so that's actually happening. That's not bizarre. That's birth rate in South Korea is like 0.7. So there's a bunch of men who will never pass on their genes in the alpha.
Now, just a little bit about South Korea. That K-pop shit is winning though. So you have a whole bunch of women. Again, this the blueprint. As they're all chasing after a certain demographic of men. You get what I mean? It's not fair, but this is the game. It's always been the game. The false patriarchal system fucked it up. Even before, like, people think that monogamous relationships is for women. No, monogamous relationships is for men. If the patriarchal system did not force monogamous relationships on society, a lot of men never would have breeded. A lot of it because it wouldn't have worked. It's always was natural selection because again, that's the rule of the universe. Because again, that's the rule of the nature. You have to, as a man, you have to be electric. You have to be electric because you passing on those electric genes to the females, to the women, to the womb. And then when it gets passed on, they pass it on to the children. And now you breeding some super beings or some super yous if you that type of dude. You get what I mean? And that's what it really is about. So the more you level up your skills in whatever it is that you're doing, and you have, now again, it's also important for the woman that you are selecting because you need to know about her biology as well. Is this compatible with your biology? You feel me? What is, like, people don't understand that it's not just about looks. It's not just about pockets. It's about breeding. It's about merging lives. The same game that's the blueprint for love and for coming together in DNA and how that works is the same game for everything else. You're coming together and you're working together. Can you do it or not? Is it destructive or is it creative? That's it.
Alpha male, beta male, whatever, like, in that kind of language, they talk a lot about like procreation and legacy and stuff like that. But I almost wonder, is there a mechanism in a human being that if your genes know they're dying out, what would they trigger in your mind? Right? And I think what they would trigger is exactly
crash out.
What we're seeing. This like existential panic, angst, even aggression, entitlement. Because if these
because they're not doing the work. It's no entitlement. You have to do the work. And man, I'm not no licensed professional. Yes, I have a medical background. I used to be a drug and alcohol abuse counselor and an EMT. And then I also did some other thing in holistics, and I am very heavily into holistic and health and wellness. I am big on that. And I work with mental health. If you are a man going through things and you're trying to find a way to level up, this is what we do. It doesn't matter if it's your finances and you need help with your corporations or your credit, whether it's your personal credit or your business credit, or whether you're doing trust funds or whether you're doing LLCs or C corps, or you're doing come get down, we'll pass you on to economic mastery and get you started. If it's something where you're dealing with health condition, maybe you're bald and you're worried about your energy, or you worry about your libido, and you feel me, like the way you look, hey, pass you on to more mito. Get your mitochondria up. Work on your cells. We'll get you right. If it's something where you need help socially, you don't know how to talk to women, you don't know how to get women without having to break your pockets, without have to keep taking females on like super expensive dates. Just find real good women and you need help. Come to the Golden G Club. We'll get you right. Like, hey, man, I'm just trying to make this easy because I know what's going to happen. Like, and I encourage other men who are in positions to give back to help these men, because it's going to be something that's unnecessary and doesn't have to be. You get what I mean? Because it's more women than it is men. And that's in not including the men who don't like women and the women who don't like men. You get what I mean? But a lot of times, naturally, it's enough. You get what I mean? And for some guys, it's enough for you to have more than one and still have enough. You get what I mean? But for some dudes, a lot of guys, just based on what it is right now, a lot of guys ain't meant to pass on their seeds. It's a lot of dudes that are, you feel me, like they the problem. Like for real, keeping it 100. Like for real, for real. And I'm not saying that it's not no females that are problems, but it's a lot more guys. But it is a lot more females who became problems because of guys. Even as simple as something like cheating, you feel me, and like not saying what it is from the jump. You get what I mean? Something like, you feel me, like a rape, taking it. You get what I mean? Like even if it's your marriage, even if it's like, I don't care if it's y'all got married and it's your honeymoon. If she say she don't want to fuck you, hey, bruh, fuck her off, get another one. Divorce, shoulda got to know her better. But don't rape her. You get what I mean? Like no means no. Like it's a lot of sick dudes out here, seriously. And yes, it is a lot of sick females, but it's way more sick dudes than it is sick females, man. We got to be better, like for real, for real.
Men do not behave in this way, they are literally going to die out.
Man.
So what we see in this post-COVID world is
hey,
that people like,
they gonna die out and they gonna take you with them, because it ain't nothing more dangerous than a man who don't care about himself. If that nigga don't care about himself, he don't give a fuck about you. He don't give a fuck about nobody or nothing around him, and he will crash out and burn the world down with him. So it's like, man, we gotta fix the environment so it will produce better members of society.
Maybe you or me, who were like losers and didn't know how to talk to chicks in high school, we were forced into social interaction where we basically like, that's where we developed in order to, so that we could talk to girls. But in this post-COVID world, all those spaces are gone.
Yeah.
There's no forcible interaction.
Yeah.
So then there are some people for whom it's natural to talk to girls.
Facts.
And that's why like we see this dichotomy where it's almost like, you know, some people like just put yourself out there, just work on yourself and things will work out. And then there are a lot of other people who are like, that's not working. And I imagine if you went back like 200 years, you went back to the Galapagos Islands and you took Darwin's finches and you put them on Twitter, you would see exactly what we're seeing. Some people are like, oh, like you have trouble getting bugs? Just crack a nut. Like just get better at cracking nuts. But they have something in their makeup, something in their attachment style, something in their tendency for social anxiety, something in their neuroticism, something in their circumstances, something in their support structure that allows them to put forth effort and succeed. And then there are these other people over here who will go to therapy, who will work on themselves professionally, who will show up on dating apps. And because of the shape of their face, which cannot be fundamentally altered, or some other thing which they're not even aware of, they grew up with a certain attachment style that they're not aware of. They grew up with on the spectrum, and their capacity to make eye contact and emotional connections is very difficult.
Man, that's tough.
So there's this whole crop of people who I think are trying really hard. I don't think they're losers. I don't think they're like pathetic.
Facts, man. That's what I'm saying. Hey, man, if you need, it's look, man, I could point it in a way and make it simple. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but I can make it simple. You get what I mean? You're gonna do some work. You're gonna put in some work. You're going to change your appearance. You're going to change the way you act and the way you talk and the things that you do, but you're going to be successful.
Pathetic or anything like that. I think there's something about the architecture of how these people are built so that standard advice does not apply to them. And what I feel when I sit with these people is like someone who is dying out. Like that's what it feels like to sit with. This person's life, they're not living a life. They're in a slow, protracted process of dying.
Damn.
And when you are in a slow, protracted process of dying, pornography shows up.
Damn.
And then you've got this weird thing that goes on where you get...
I'm just going to say something about porno. Like, man, a lot of people be thinking, like, a lot of men, look, I'm going to keep it a buck. If you are one of those dudes, you got to value your semen. I'm going to keep it a solid. Don't just be so quick to bust a nut. Like, seriously. Because that's directly tied to your life force. It's directly tied to your electric output. That's why, you feel me, when you see a lot of boxers or high performance athletes, they don't ejaculate before, you feel me, that match or before that session, because it kills your whole everything. Samson and Delilah, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, you need to learn discipline with that. You feel me? Even though that is what your number one organic program was to procreate. However, you have to learn to cut it on and cut it off. Like, you have to learn that. You have to learn that. You have to learn that. You got to get that shit in control. Like, for real, for real.
This spurt of dopamine, this existential dread of like, I am not getting to participate in life. There are all these people out there that are participating. They tell me, oh, you should do this, but it doesn't work. And it's just, imagine how terrifying it is. If someone gives you advice that's supposed to work and it doesn't work for you, how fucked are you?
Man,
right?
you're
Because
fucked.
that's the answer.
You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. and this is a thing and that's why I'm saying, like, the answer is not easy. It's not. The real answer is you have to get used to rejection, and you have to keep trying, and you have to keep trying, and you have to keep trying, because for some people it happens instantaneous. For some people it takes a couple of tries. For some people they have to keep getting it and keep getting it and keep getting it and keep getting it. And fortunately for me, women wasn't that thing that I had to get over and over, but with a lot of other things, that's the way that I learn. Like, I have to do it over and 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 get it down pat. And I learned this from talking to women. You get what I mean? And a lot of times it wasn't just like, even though a good percentage was like me intentionally, talking to them, and they knew what my intentions was from the jump, and we wasn't getting married. Now, another percent it was something business related. You feel me? Because I did organize a lot of events in the Bay Area with a lot of celebrities. So when I'm outside marketing the events, man, I'm passing out flyers. I'm in their DMs. I'm chopping it up. You feel me, with the homegirls. Hey, get your friends. You feel me? Get them all. Like, shots on us tonight. You get what I'm saying? Whatever y'all into, we giving away money. We doing it all. Whatever makes y'all smile, and you learn women like really, really, really good. It's not hella difficult, and even without doing all of that shit, because you don't even necessarily have to spend money. You could write a letter to the girl that's feeling you a little bit, and that'll make her feel you a lot. But a lot of dudes don't know what to do and how to get started, or they don't know what way to do what. It's an order of operation, like, for real, for real.
It's like, some people have cancer. We give them cancer treatment. They get better. But if some people have cancer and everyone's like, hey, do this chemotherapy, and it doesn't work, then how screwed are you? You're very screwed.
Very.
So this is, I think, what we're seeing. This deep existential loss, this desire for connection, is somehow like intersecting with pornography. Because I think
Okay, and on this one, hey, look, man, y'all go check this out, man. This is a good ass video. Like, I think it's Dr. K or something. You feel me? But it's pretty good. Like, go check it out. Drop y'all comments. Tell me what y'all think, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.